right, thank you so much. So we're going to talk a little bit about value leakage. And I think the easiest way to start any conversation is making sure that everybody is on the same page. So if you look at the definition, I've got it up on the screen for you. It's basically when there's a misalignment. Generally, value leakage has been associated with procurement and contracts and things like that. So it is a provider and business partner misaligned. But when you think about how things are done, how things are executed, projects are providing a service or providing value to the organization by executing specific tasks, projects, groups of work to deliver a strategic goal and objective for the organization. That's a service provider to the organization, most times internal, but there's lots of external examples as well. When you look at the misalignment, what happens, you get suboptimal results if you get results on a regular basis. Lots of times that is attributed back to some key concepts, and we'll discuss those. But in short, it is wasted money for the organization. If you look at all the types of failed projects, and that video referred to 70% are not considered a success. That's pretty consistent with what PMI reports find as well. So two very large organizations, CIO organization and PMI organization, both have a consistent number on the projects that either fail or aren't successful. And I make that distinction because there is a little bit of semantics when it comes to a complete failure and not being successful. You could have absolutely delivered the scope that was requested and still not be successful because the scope that was recommended isn't really what they needed. And scope is one of the key contributors to value leakage. So we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like. And if I can get my screen to, there it goes. So clarity on scope and goals is one of the main reasons why you have value leakage. Stakeholder engagement, either inadequate, insufficient, or in some cases completely absent, is another cause of value leakage. In that same video that Wendy just showed you a moment ago, that CIO study referred to that same concept. PMI studies have found the same thing. Lots of different organizations who have looked at strategic execution failure will point back to this as another key reason why projects fail. Here's the one that value leakage is most commonly associated with, and that is negotiations with vendors. And those vendors are providing either a service or a product that is misaligned with the intent. So you say you want one thing and someone interprets that in a different manner in which the request was made. Sometimes those deliverables are aligned or misaligned because there are no checkpoints or KPIs through the process to hint or suggest that you might have a misalignment. Some lesser known challenges, but are still contributors nonetheless, lack of flexibility and a heavy focus on governance. This tends to be a bigger challenge in very centralized top-down organizations that are heavily regulated. Governance needs to be flexible to allow projects to do their work, but does need to make sure that they're there to help when you have risks and issues that need to be escalated, you have challenges that need to be resolved. That governance needs to be in place for that, but it should not be an impediment to moving forward. And then the last one, and this somewhat ties back to the first two, is a transition from one phase to another. So I'll give you an example here. In many organizations, you have projects that are executed to implement a new process. Sometimes it's a new application. And the project does its job. It implements the new process, implements the new system, and you go back in 60 to 90 days and they're using the old process in the old system. The transition did not occur properly to make sure that that change that was implemented is sustained over time. There's a lot of reasons why that could happen, but generally speaking, when you look back at it, the first two bullets on this page are the root cause of why that transition did not occur properly. You've got to have stakeholders bought into what's going on in agreement, and you make sure that when one person says a item is, let's say, red, the next person doesn't look at it and say, no, that's pink or that's purple. Everybody has to be on the same page and see the same square box, the same red color, whatever the factual items are that can be measured and observed. So some ways to avoid value leakage: clearly define goals and objectives. Have a roadmap, list all the risks, the goals, and the opportunities. When you define the goals and objectives, they need to be stated in such a way that it is undeniable. And by that, I mean everyone is calling a box, a brick, red is red. If you have the ability to have too much variance, or the item is subject to interpretation, that's where you have challenges later on about misalignment with what that means. Stakeholders, when they look at your roadmap of what's being done and what the end goal is, what the deliverable and the value is expected, they need to see that from end to end. It needs to be agreed upon at the beginning. But more so important is, as the work goes through, stakeholders need to be communicated with over and again to make sure that they still see the value in what's being done and have it move forward. Do they still see the value, the same value as when you started, halfway through the effort and at the end of the effort? You need to have regular checkpoints with your stakeholders to make sure that this is the case. Things change. We live in a world of constant change. If you would have considered 2 years ago, you started a new effort to do a lot of work that required face-to-face interaction, and then you completed that work right now, how much value?
Hi there, hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.